You're listening to If These Woods Could Talk, produced by the Rhinelander District Library. More information can be found at rhinelanderlibrary.org. The Rhinelander Area Food Pantry was a concept in 2004, and in early 2005, it became a reality. A couple weeks ago, we released part one of this two-part history of the food pantry, which focused primarily on the origins, the former buildings used, transporting suspect produce, and, of course, a terrible elevator. This second recording with the folks from the pantry focused more on the customers, volunteers, and the garden, which annually yields more than 2,500 pounds of produce for the pantry.
If these words could talk, would you sit and listen to tales of those who came before us in the virgin mind with the river glistening? Sit on back with friendlies, share some stories about butterflies, days gone by on the sunset hill of glory.
Can we just, for my sake, just go in a circle quick and say our names?
Ginger Kroback.
Mike Warnez.
Dee Warnez.
Jan Sarkaskas.
Nancy Isley.
Lisa Seifert.
Carol Hansen.
Courtney Smith.
Bill Vegas.
Thanks. Now, I will be putting this on and off throughout. I am listening to all of you, just trying to make sure everything's going right, so don't want to seem rude. Otherwise, should we get going? Is it time?
Yeah, let's start.
Where do we start? Who's got an idea?
At the beginning?
Yeah, about
At the
20 years
beginning.
ago?
Yeah,
Yeah.
20 years ago in April of 2005 is the dates that I have on my first minutes from the meetings that I found in my Yahoo account. They go all the way back to 2005, if you can believe that. So that's a miracle in itself. I couldn't even find these files on my computer anymore. They're gone. So, but Yahoo kept them. So anyway, yes, back in 2005 in April, we started a little group, and a group of individuals who were interested in a food pantry. And Guy is the steel trap that's got all
Yes.
that information in his head. So I'm guessing that maybe Guy has given you some of this information already. So I just have a few things to kind of keep, make sure everybody's still, that it's being remembered right. Just this is like minutes and board committee membership, board membership from back in 2005 when we started. And so we have Lois Blonsky was the pantry manager back in 2005. And that turns out that was a relative of Jane Matowski's, who came after, some years after. But we had our steering committee members back in 2005 were Bill Brissy, Lois Blonsky, Ray Bergen, Ginger Kroback was our treasurer, Kathy Cleland was our garden coordinator, Gib Durkin was the executive director, Betsy Fontaine was with UW Extension, Guy Hansen, Jackie Hauser, Joanne Guzik was with the County Health Department, Linda Krebsbach was with the DOT, Nancy McKinsky, a grant writer, was with HUD, Ann Meyer, a volunteer coordinator, was with the Department of Corrections, John Potter was with Sacred Heart St. Mary's Hospital, Tony Rogers was UW Extension, Marge Sari was with the County Health Department, myself, I was with DOT, Bruce Sprawl, Lisa Stahl was a grant writer, Nancy Vivi was a teacher. So, and I missed some of the ones in the front there. I wanted to bring out, I thought it was an interesting thing, how many public employees we had on the original pantry staff who were either involved in public employment of some type, county, state, local, teachers, and federal. We had some hub people. So I thought that was very interesting. So there, I'll stop.
And that's the way it was at our first meeting. All right.
The first meeting I went to that was designated for a food pantry was actually in January, and there were only 5 of us.
Yes.
And it was Lois and Tony and Guy and Gib and myself.
Yeah, I believe that.
And then that was the really, before that, we had talked about on different Focus for Hungry meetings, and that's when we were told we had 125 families regularly leaving Rhinelander for food. And 100 of them were going to Three Lakes. We were 80-some% of their people, and they said, we can't handle it. The other 25 families went out to Monaco. And so the first thing that we did really was work with Bill Breezy. What about our emergency food pantry? And they simply felt they could not become a full-service food pantry, but we had, they were always represented on our board in the beginning, so we could work together. And, yeah, but it was, it moved fast once we started going, very, very quickly, yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Did you all hold like town halls or meetings? How did everyone come together? Did the community at large have input, or was this really
Lois
just?
and Tony had been talking about it a long time, and I was invited to these meetings about food through Northwoods Community Partners, which I joined because I needed the information for church for people that needed help. And through that, I went to a couple of meetings that were focused on hunger, and we found out what Rhinelander needed. And then Tony called the first meeting that was definitely just for starting a food pantry.
Yeah, and she would do whatever she could.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an important piece because the model of our pantry has always been a choice-based pantry.
Yes, it always has
And
been.
so that's a really important distinction in food pantry work. And we've always held the model and justice for all
Yes.
on everything, to make sure that everyone has access to our services and our food, and so it's been an important part of what we do.
And even in that tiny room, people had come this way, and then kind of this way and back here, but they had a choice, yes.
Yeah, every time.
So one model to give people food is just to give them a pre-made box of
Yes.
food. And so we've always had this option where people could choose the items that they
Yes.
want and need. So, yeah.
Except during COVID when they got the extra 3 months.
Yeah,
Yes.
that changed everything.
Yes. But even now, when they come through, our customers are very much aware of each other. And they'll say,
Yes.
I don't need that. No, save that for someone else who might need it. And they're just,
They always have been.
Yes.
Another thing we had from really a long time in the beginning, we had a small library for the kids to take books from, because it was on the floor, kind of right in front of James, Lois's desk. So we've always had books, and then it was only for the kids. But way back in the beginning, that box was there, and they could choose a book to take
And
home.
then later on, right at the entry door, which was right across from the
Yes.
director's desk, there were the shelves.
oh,
Right, to the
yes.
right when you
Yes.
Yes, when they.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
all children's books,
Books,
but
right,
Mostly,
but we
we
yes.
moved
had a
into
spot
shelves.
for them on
Yes.
the wall.
Yeah, so
Yes.
we've always had books, at least for the children.
And now over here, we've got a couple of shelves.
Yes.
We have, and we have adult books also
Okay.
that they can take.
Yeah, that's Food for the Mind. So it's in partnership with the Rhinelander Women's Club. So they collect books, maintain books.
Mm-hmm.
And Pauline Doucette was the big gun behind that.
Yes, yeah.
And she was wonderful to come in, and she had stored books in her garage. And then she'd say, it's time, I need to get these out of here. And then that's when we kind of went a little larger.
And for a while, she had a partnership with what's now Dahl Auto. They had storage facilities in the car dealership where they could keep books.
She must have bought a
So-
car from them.
They were all automotive books, but no, I
No.
But she also then had it with the Y, wasn't it?
Yes, there was
For a
some
while.
Yeah, for a
storage
while
at the
with the
YMCA too.
And
So
this-
it was like
yeah.
when you had said food was stored
Yes,
all
all
over,
over.
she stored books in
And we-
multiple places.
And that has gone on, that went on for a long time. We stored things wherever we could. Absolutely, yes.
And with the books, she would bring the books in and she would clean them before she would give them to the kids.
Mhm.
She would always make sure that they were in really good shape before
Yes.
she gave them to the kids.
And the
Between-
library was organized.
Between the Women's Club and
Beautifully.
is it the Association of University Women together that
ITWCT.
they also purchase new books, which are
Yes.
given out here
Mhm.
to children the 2 weeks prior to Easter and the 2 weeks prior to Christmas. They each get to
Right.
take a new one.
And then they partner with us as well for our summer kids program. So each week they're present and giving out books, and it's something that kids love. And they also come to our Harvest Hoedown
Yes, and give out
festival
books.
and give out free books too.
Mhm.
So it's really been an important part of our outreach.
So then when did the garden start getting involved with the food pantry?
Oh, almost from the beginning.
In my notes here, and this is from 2006.
Yeah.
The
You,
message from
good,
Tom.
good, excellent, because you've got, and I talked to Kathy too this morning, and she reminded me that Tom wasn't here in 2005 or 6.
He was still
down
working.
He was down in Wisconsin Rapids, where he worked with the DNR. And so, back then, it was Kathy Cleland was the garden coordinator, Tony Rogers, and then other gardeners, and I wasn't involved, it was you guys. But I have in my notes from our meeting in March of 2006, Patty Fitzgerald suggested considering the community garden and Rhinelander Area Food Pantry funds and expenses separately for bookkeeping services, so that was in 2006. So we, the garden, was part of this almost from the beginning.
Didn't, at first it was at Robinson's?
Yeah, it was two
For-
sites.
Yes,
We had
that's
two
right.
sites.
Two sites.
You had two
Oh,
sites.
so the one at, where it is now started right from the beginning.
Right.
And that's when Guy came.
Guy came with his
His
tractor.
And
There's a
his-
picture in there.
And the rototiller.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say the Troy rototiller came by my house. And
No, but this-
I had this horse, big Troy rototiller. And so, Tom and Kathy came over and picked up the rototiller and took it where, I think that was when we took over, by the.
I think
our
I was
regular
there. I
spot.
remember going in your shed.
Okay, so you, okay, Kathy, maybe it was you and not
Yeah.
Kathy, I don't know,
I have
anyway.
a statement that Tom Giroux, who's the garden coordinator now, he's out of town, but he wrote something and asked if we could share it on the history of the garden. Do you mind if I read it? The first year we started the garden, which was only 1 year after the pantry began, Tony Rogers challenged us to create a garden. This was before community gardens became a fad. Catholic Charities provided the land, and Guy Hansen came with his tractor and plowed what was the playground and parking lot at the old McCord School. We know this because we found marbles and army men in the gravel. Occasionally, McCord School students stopped by to visit. We amended the soil, really gravel, with free compost from the Oneida County Solid Waste Facility. Home Depot provided and installed a 6-foot chain link fence, and Fiskars in Wausau supplied a boatload of tools. A shed was donated by a master gardener. The McNaughton prison crew built the raised beds and laid out the bark paths. We started with plants donated by a local greenhouse. Because of all the preparation, we did not get the garden planted until mid-July, and we only planted half the garden that first year. Naturally, it was dry by midsummer, and we ran hoses from Phoenix Villa to water the plants. That first year, we set a record for the amount of vegetables produced, 5,000 pounds. We never produced more
Never
than
done
that
that
since.
Yeah, that's what you say.
We've had so many good times in the garden with our crew that it doesn't truly feel like work.
But at that time, you had the two places, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
So the melons and
We
squash?
tried to go
Squash.
with kind of low maintenance things out on County P.
I never even saw the county people.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that's where it was.
what do we estimate? We estimate it's like, is
We
it
get
35?
35,000
35,000 pounds since it opened?
Oh, okay.
Is that what
Yeah.
we say? I don't know. I
Yeah.
have to look.
Yeah.
Every year we get between, what,
2,500
to 3,000 pounds.
Yeah, that's the
In the garden.
average for
And what
sure.
did you get the first year?
6,000.
5,000.
Almost
I
6,000.
I took all the nutrients out of the soil.
Well, they had the two sites too.
Yeah.
I think it was that sludge. We had sludge from the mill, I believe.
Oh, interesting.
Just a little
Yeah.
bit.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Huh.
Well, that would go out to landfill, they would mix it.
Yes, it
Yeah.
didn't come straight.
No.
But when I started working at the garden and we would cultivate and weed, we'd still bring up pieces of blacktop from the original parking lot there, so.
Or
It
glass.
isn't there anymore, but
Yeah.
it was for a while.
We do have a spot in the garden where we put in the new gaylords that we put up there that have rocks that were so big that we couldn't plant anything, and we would put stakes and say rock, so that we knew we couldn't plant anything there because nothing would grow. So now we have raised beds where those are so that we can grow because.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
That's why those newest ones
Ones
are
are
down
down
at that
there.
end.
It was just pick out where you should put the raised
Yeah.
beds.
Yeah.
Clever,
Yeah.
clever.
I remember my initial call from Tony Rogers. She was so excited. It was in February of '06. She says, "We're gonna start this garden for the food pantry," and I thought, oh, jeez. I'm sorry, I have something else I have to do that night. And I thought about it a little more, and I ended up going. By the time I left that meeting, I was the secretary.
I don't know at the time if, when the garden first started, if there were any other gardens that were coordinated with food pantries to
around the
grow and provide fresh food on
Around
distribution days. But in that sense, we're kind of unique.
Oh, we
Yeah.
are absolutely cutting edge. And so when I came on board in 21, I think, I guess it was 21 when I was
Seems
hired.
longer.
It does, it seems like I've been here forever. But I went to one conference and it was in 2022, early, and the whole topic was about food pantries starting gardens, and I had nothing to attend. We already have a garden, and we'd had one since I thought 2007. So I'm going to all these workshops about how to start a garden, and they were asking me, and I was like, well, we actually have one, and everyone was like, what? Where are you? And no one could believe that we, as this food pantry in the Northwoods, had this amazing garden that was producing and volunteer driven and funded and completely community supported.
So we have the greenhouse to start plants in, and, I mean.
So it started out, well, it's always been 3 days a week that we do the garden. We have people working in the garden. It's between 8 or 9 in the morning, and we work until about noon. So we do the 3 days because those are Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, because those are the days that we pick, and then we bring the fresh produce to the pantry, and those are distribution days. Except Friday, we do it early because they have it early on Saturday to come and get the food. So we always had shelving in the back where we would just put a notice saying that this was from our community garden, because then they knew it wasn't wasn't vegetables that were donated from our stores in town, that this was fresh food from the garden that we grew in the garden that had no pesticides on it. When was the greenhouse? There was Kiwanis that gave us the money for the greenhouse.
And
And
help.
It was
built
2015.
2015.
Yeah.
Where they
Except we
tried.
couldn't get it square, so we
Yeah.
had to hire Shadix to come in.
And put it back up.
These guys are doing this and, just put the pieces together, sounded simple enough, but we couldn't get it together, so Shadix came with like a ratchet, put straps around it and tightened it up to straighten it up. We couldn't figure out how to
I
straighten
was
it
in
up.
Ohio, that's why I didn't.
And it's just been a couple of years now that we have the automatic watering system.
Yep.
And the solar lights in it, so that
solar heater.
Solar
Solar
fans.
panels.
And there was a
Solar
heater.
panels.
A heater, yeah.
And heaters.
Yeah, we do rain catchment, so it can automatically water and do all the goodness out there. It just is so. There's an app on the phone to monitor it, and
Yeah.
it's amazing.
One of the iconic pictures is in the middle of winter when Tom was with his plastic sled bringing a couple of canisters of propane gas or something for the heater. So it's like a snowstorm. He's walking down the sidewalk pulling a plastic sled with two of those tanks on it because he needed it for the heater for the greenhouse. Yeah. It was just a cool picture. Yeah.
I love that.
And it
Yeah.
has it opens up if it gets too hot and closes the windows too.
We were
So-
fortunate to have some engineers that could help with the solar
Yeah.
panels, and then the water system that went in there, I was
Yeah.
very envious of those
Yeah.
engineers.
Yeah, they took the water off the roof. and
Really,
things up.
that was-
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, we
Yeah.
would have to haul the water.
So our little greenhouse is just across in the parking
Oh,
lot.
it's in the, okay.
And so right now it's shut down. We'll open it in April, I think.
Ish.
Yes, ish.
First of
Within a
April.
week or two.
Yeah, and so
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
bring back out all of the water system, so everything is broken down for the season. But you can come to our open house in June and see it.
But yeah, solar heated, it's good water is collected.
It's beautiful.
It's really cool.
I know. I just have had a couple of pantries call recently and say, "Oh, what did you guys do?" And I said, "It was a long time ago. You should just go
Those
look for something
engineers,
different." I
finding
know that it was a
engineers.
process, so I can't help.
For those of us that work at the garden, our season starts early in April here at the greenhouse, planting plants, both for giving to clients and for what we're going to transplant in the actual garden.
And the salad bowl.
Yeah. And by the end of April, we're starting to work in the garden itself. I mean, there's always a lot of spring prep and cleanup. But Tom Giroux, our garden coordinator, always wants us to make sure we get our onion plants planted before the 30th of April. So, and generally we pretty much get to that. But the workers there, as Dee mentioned, work there on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And it's kind of a combination of people that belong to Master Gardeners of the North and other people that are interested in gardening and want to be a part of it. One thing that I've learned over the 14 years that I've been working at the garden is that it's really a cooperative effort. There are people that are in charge, but everybody's ideas are listened to, and over the years, we've tried all sorts of things that people have suggested to, help improve how much we harvest and different ways of doing things, and some have worked really well, some haven't, but we've always been willing to try those things. And it kind of makes everyone that works there feel like they're a part of a group, and it's gotten to be kind of a family group that we work well together. But everybody's got favorite jobs that they like to do, and so I don't like to pick beans. Fortunately, there are
And we
lots of
all know
other
it.
people that like
Yeah,
to
well, I
pick
was gonna say the same thing. Even I know that, and I don't work at the garden.
And beans need to be planted in narrower rows. Yeah, and we've tried different varieties of vegetables over the years that some have grown better than others, but our goal is always how much can we grow that are gonna help people here at the pantry? And it's kind of, we get to be kind of teachers there too, because we can be planting or weeding or harvesting, and people will be walking by or driving by. We've had cars stop, and so what is this garden all about? And so you have a chance to tell them, and many of them are surprised in a pleased way that we're growing all of this food to be given away at our food pantry, which kind of led to a name change that we had about a year ago. We always called it the Rhinelander Community Garden, and 1 or 2 years ago we changed the name to the Rhinelander Area Food Pantry Garden because it was some community members were getting confused, and if they weren't really familiar thought we were doing a rental of space
Yeah,
for
well, yeah, like
people
they
to
do at
come and
Nicolay
grow.
College, that's,
Yeah.
yeah. to
Like the
differentiate
one that
from
they do at
yeah.
Nicolay College, and we're not about that, but, so I think the name change helped clarify that a little
Yeah.
bit, but.
You also get a lot of community members saying, oh, the flowers around there are just beautiful. You know, what are the flowers for? Well, the flowers are there so that we get the pollinators, so that we can have the food to produce. So, you know, and the flowers don't go to waste. We will cut them and we'll bring them to the food pantry here
Yes, you do.
for the manager and the. for
We
them to
love
appreciate
it.
Up the place a
Yeah,
little
to
It's the
appreciate it.
best, it's
Yeah.
the best.
And we also get some exercise because some of those sunflower plants are so large that you actually need to use large knives or loppers to cut them down to get them out of your way. But
Yeah.
that's a standing joke we have among the
Mike's
workers
not
at the
real
garden.
fond of our sunflowers.
I love sunflowers.
But we also had
In their
somebody
place.
build cold frames that we have out by
Yes.
the.
Oh, that's right.
Out by the
Tom arranged for that, and it was.
Yeah.
Neat.
I don't know
I
who
don't
that
know who it
was,
was
but it was a
either.
young
Was it
man,
somebody
I
that
believe.
had to do
I
community
believe
Yes.
it was.
And he
Yes.
built us cold frames, so when it gets warm enough for us to take some of the stuff and put it in cold frames, we can do that during the day, and then we have more room to plant other things in the greenhouse. And of course, as plants grow, they get bigger and bigger, so you need more space in the greenhouse so that you have room to do that.
And that
But-
greenhouse is not that very big.
No, and then Dwayne made the tables.
Oh, for
that's
in the
right.
greenhouse.
The growing tables.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're nice.
He made all the growing tables, so right now the water tanks are underneath,
Mhm.
and then the tables are on top, so that it just circulates the water to.
It's just always.
We had to shorten the legs on those tables because our tomatoes grew so big. Yeah.
They would.
Yeah,
And we also had to make sure we didn't plant them too early.
right.
That was the
yeah.
other problem.
Yeah.
Because it's so warm in there, they grow so fast.
Like any other garden, the major problem is weeds. I had this good idea one year. I bring my weed torch. I heard about it for a couple years afterwards from someone eventually who go unmentioned. Well, I managed to get a few of the irrigation, things burned pretty well.
Oh, so you were out there with a flame
My flamethrower.
thrower.
And then the loppers in the garden, we have to be careful that when we cut the cabbage, that we don't get the irrigation.
Taped,
I
yeah.
cut a few lines harvesting
Yeah.
cabbage.
The reason why they're
Confession.
talking so much about cutting the lines and all that is because it was a really bad thing, and Tom would get very upset, because he's the one that always had to fix it. And so we were very careful, we tried really hard not to cut the lines on that, do anything with the irrigation.
But we have a drip line irrigation system through the garden, so every row has its own drip line for watering, and we use city water, but all the water goes on ground level to everything in the garden.
We get a meter every spring, and we put the meter out. We do pay for the water for growing the vegetables. But yeah, Tom's got a system where he will turn the water on certain times of the day and then make sure he comes back and turns it off, because it's not on a timer. But we have, every bed has drip line in it.
The first couple of years, we did have sprinklers going, and if we would have to leave, the lady across the street would come over and turn off our water for us.
It's a community work, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so interesting to hear the growing side, because at the pantry we just see you all show up a little dirty and
Yeah.
with magic, here we are with
Hot
fresh
and
produce, right? And so I see the customer side so much of it, and I think what the produce has done is given opportunity for our customers to connect with our volunteers in such a neat way, because they can be experts about gardening too, or canning, or something like that. And it's just been such a leveler, and really helped to build this as a community space. So, you know,
One of the things we did as part of that was to do demos in the pantry for the customers. Like we did kale smoothies a lot, and kale chips, and
Kohlrabi
rooted
stuff.
kohlrabis, and all kinds of stuff like that. That's how I got to actually meet the customers, because I don't do the distribution or anything normally. So that was kind of a neat thing, and it was interesting to watch. Or try to get people to eat kale, for instance. You know?
Yes.
It was, and so you'd get to know these people, like, and then they come back the next year, and I'm not the same
We had a
ones we
little
want
bit
to
of
eat
a
the kale.
partnership with UW Extension with that too.
Yes, we did.
They would come and
yes.
they would ask us if we had certain things ready in the garden, and they would do some simple recipes as a demonstration on distribution night, so.
Yeah, we would collect crock pots and things that
Yep.
we could do.
Yes. Yeah.
They would take the course and then they would go home with the crock pots and they could do it at home.
Or a blender. We
Yeah.
collected blenders and crock pots for a while. I don't know if we still do that.
Tom likes to push the kale, so.
It's a
One
superfood.
Saturday, we were here and we thought we'd make some smoothies in the back rooms. We got our blender going too, and there's kale and bananas and some strawberries. Tom comes out here and he says, "Who'd like to try a kale smoothie?" And people just scattered.
Should've told him it was strawberry and banana.
I said, Tom, why didn't you say, "Would you like to try a banana smoothie?" And we would have had some
Yeah, the
customers.
marketing needs to be improved.
the best thing about this whole thing is there's a picture of Tom on our website standing next to our farmer's market table wearing his t-shirt that says "Eat more kale." So this is perfect.
But we do try to grow things that are common around here for people to eat. We don't grow, okra that isn't from this area.
Sure.
Are you growing kohlrabi this year?
Oh, yes.
Good. Yes.
One day on a food stocking day, when you and I were here working, and Pauline Doucette, who worked with the books that we talked about earlier, was straightening books in her shelves, and it was the morning after a distribution, and there must have been some smoothies made to hand out to folks, but we found hidden behind books on bookshelves, partial cups of smoothie. Someone must have taken a taste and thought, I don't want to make them feel bad, but I'm not going to drink this.
I never heard
Yeah,
that
we were
story.
cleaning up some glasses of that.
It's a good story. I didn't hear
So
that
we're
one.
gonna, Nancy, we're gonna have to start looking behind the books.
And plants, that was the other one, behind the plants.
Yes.
Actually, I think that one was there for a while because we were having fruit flies flying around. And we weren't really sure where they were coming. And we looked behind the plant and there it was.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, I'd like to talk about the customers, if I may. Because when the customers first come in, it's really hard for a lot of them to walk through the door. So Nancy and I always watch for those, because we want them to know that we are a place of kindness and empathy. And it's really fun then to watch them blossom. They come in, and now because we have this area, they will start coming so that they can walk in this place by 2:30, and we open at 3. And the place can be full, and it just chatter, and there's just a community for them, and it's been wonderful, and I love coming to work. That's my.
So do I.
It is so much fun because they become family. It's just really neat, and I can kid them, I can be sassy to them, and they love it. And I love it when they give it back, so.
And I tell jokes to them.
Yes.
Bad jokes.
Bad jokes.
Bad one.
Yes, and they look forward to it. They really, really do.
And on Mondays when they come twice a month from the seniors come in with the bus. And when we're bringing in the vegetables on Mondays, they wait for us almost. And they look through what we have before we even have it stacked, put out, they're ready. And the thing that kinda surprises me the most of them love the beets. They wait for the beets. They want beets.
Didn't know that.
Everybody should grow beets.
Bill?
Well, some of them
I
live
missed
by
that.
the garden.
Missed that one.
Oh, right.
So they know when things are ready
Yep.
at the garden, cause they live close to there, so then they want to see them in here.
2 or 3 summers ago, we had a mystery going on in the garden in August. We'd come in and start picking, and we had all of these cucumber blossoms on the cucumbers. But we were getting almost no cucumbers when we go to pick. Sometimes we'd find 1 or 2 or 3. One of the residents living at Phoenix Villa, right across the parking lot, came up to Tom one morning and said, there have been people that have been in the garden at night, and we see them climbing over the fence.
Yeah.
And he says, we haven't been finding any cucumbers. Well, at night, that'd be an easy thing to pick, a big cucumber to find them.
We told them
Yeah.
to take zucchini.
Yeah.
We had a stepladder
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was on the inside, and we were growing plants up on it. It was kind of decorative, so they would back up their pickup to the fence, climb over and down the ladder and get in and,
So we put the ladder down, we didn't have a problem after
yeah.
that.
That's all it took.
That's all it took, yeah.
Because it's still that
bring it
6-foot
Barbed wire
fence.
around the top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
What did you
there
say?
is a wire
Barbed
around
wire
the
on the
top.
top wouldn't
Yeah, that-
wouldn't have looked good.
We have to get the.
Concertina wire.
There you go.
prison.
There we go.
Not a good look for the
Razor wire.
pantry.
Razor wire?
Yeah.
Razor wire.
There's a dad joke.
There is a wire around the fence that's higher than the fence. But
Yeah.
It's just a plain wire.
Yeah, it's to
It's
hold the.
To hold it to square,
Yeah,
keep it
yeah,
square.
yeah, yeah.
But
Not
it's
good
the
enough.
original fence that was put up when it was started.
Another summer, we were so happy we were getting a lot of large beets growing in the garden and carrots, and we had some good-sized squashes.
Oh,
And we'd start picking them, and pull the beet out of the ground, and it was a hollow shell. Everything was eaten. The whole bulb of the beet was eaten. We'd pick up some squash from the ground, and they were completely eaten out. We were overrun with mice. So, Tom Giroux figured out some different organic ways of removing vermin, and it's been better since.
We had it last year,
A little bit,
a
yeah.
little bit last year.
And the other thing that I love about the garden too is really supporting 4-H. And I know that
Yes.
the kids come and work in the garden and make salsa and, all of that, and how important that is for 4-H. I think the garden helped reconnect 4-H even with the food pantry too.
mhm.
It's been great.
And the learning from Nicolay College. What's that
Learning
one
in
called?
retirement?
Yeah,
Learning in retirement.
they've
Oh.
come to the garden. And whenever anybody comes to the garden that's a group that hasn't been there, Tom always makes sure that we have some vegetable that might be something they haven't tried. And he makes sure that he has it available for them to try so they know what to expect.
As a part of their
Kale
indoctrination.
Yeah.
tour.
It's usually a kohlrabi.
Still trying to move that.
Yeah, he agreed to provide kohlrabi for our kids' summer program on a Thursday. So we're gonna have a kohlrabi meet and greet, is what it's called on our calendar of events. So we're really excited for kohlrabi.
I think we are very, very lucky, very, very blessed to have the community that we live in and how they support us. It is, it's remarkable.
85% of our funding comes directly from this community. And that's businesses, churches, individuals, civic groups, kids even. I mean, it's everybody. It's the community. And half the time we don't know. So, they'll show up one day with a big check. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing.
And the volunteers, we have more volunteers than any other group you talk to. They go, people are amazed. You have
Would
hundreds
you
of
speak to
volunteers.
the husband and wife minister and how they got involved here after they tried some other ones and didn't find them as friendly?
Yes, we did.
It's a great example.
Yeah, we did just have a couple join us, husband and wife team, and they happened to call on a day when we really needed some intense work. So he jumped in a truck to go pick up food at, Triggs, and she jumped in and started sorting produce right away. And so we just hooked them in and we got them, and they let us know that I think we were about the third organization that they had tried to connect with. They're new in the area. And just didn't feel as comfortable or welcome or needed, and so they're here, and to this day now working hard, still sorting vegetables.
Yeah.
It's a thankless job in this
Oh.
place.
Oh, yes.
It's a thankless job, and so if they
like
come
it.
back after sorting vegetables on their first day, it's really a good thing. So
That just speaks to the volunteers and the
it does,
staff that's here.
because
I mean,
You know,
Yeah.
and our volunteers stay a long time.
Oh.
I've been with them since they started.
Yes,
Yeah.
So,
yes, you have.
but if you think
But,
about it, we operate
I love
5
it.
days a week.
yeah.
We have, I don't even know, we use about 150 volunteers every month.
You actually do 6 days a week.
6
'cause
days.
that's
Oh, 6
Saturday.
days a
Yeah.
week.
6
Yeah,
days,
Saturday.
Saturday.
Never on Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think another thing, through the years, anybody who has wanted to do something here will take, I mean, we had a gal that for a while was cutting hair for people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we participated in a study where teeth were checked and, people wanted it. And actually they found somebody with cancer in their mouth. And we've had all these different things. If somebody says, hey, do you want, we will find you space and work with you, and, which I think is good. We've opened it to the community for whatever, someone can do for us, yes.
Thanks for listening. Remember to follow If These Woods Could Talk on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or most places where you get podcasts for up-to-date episodes and other historical blurbs, and of course civil discussion. A special thanks to the Food Pantry and all the volunteers who participated in this recording project, and of course to the volunteers who weren't there and continue to make the Food Pantry what it is.